Okay, so today I'm going to show you how the audio sample was created in that intro. Now, before we get into the video, if you are struggling with your trance productions, then be sure to head over to allanmorrowstudios.com, where there are plenty of start to finish courses, tutorials, sound banks, templates, MIDI packs, sample packs, and everything you can think of to help you with your trance productions. So today we're going to look at this sort of like very heavily driven by acid trance sort of section here. Quite a popular sound at the moment, especially with the likes of people like KI. And yeah, so I thought I'd show you a bit of an insight into the layers that would create something like this. Now, I do have a full start to finish course on the website, an acid trance one. I'll leave descriptions in the link below if you want to check out the full course and see how a full track like this would be created from the ground up. So let's get into it anyway. So first things first, we have the kick here. So this is the kick. Nice heavy sort of pounding kick there. This comes from the AM Studios 909 kick sample pack, and that's kick number 9. Now what you'll see on here, this is just a quick mix rack that I have on every single channel. You can also grab this on the website, but what this allows me to do is get my mixes to around 90% a lot of the time as I'm getting ideas down. It stops me from going into the nitty gritty of EQing, getting lost for a couple of hours, you know, playing around with EQ when it's not really needed. This gets me to that 90% mark. And then if I need anything else at the end, you know, fine tweaking, I'll then do that towards the end. But as I say, and you'll see from this session today that that's all I use in terms of mixing. So this is just the quick mix rack. There's no processing on this other than minus 10 dB of gain, just to give some headroom for that kick. Now that is something that I just have set up on the default of the quick mix rack anyway, just to give you that headroom. Now, there is something else that goes on this master. If you stick around to the end, I'll show you what that is. Keeping it on whilst going through these in isolation can get quite irritating, so I'll put it on towards the end. So this is the kick, very simple kick, but nice pounding, does the job. That's exactly what we want. So next up, we'll go to the bass line. So this is the bass. Now this comes from my JUP Trance Essentials Volume 4, and it's Womp Bass number 2. And what you'll see here, it's just a pretty standard offbeat bass here. Now I've cut it back a little bit just before the next kick, just to give it that sort of nice rhythm, because if it's like this, it doesn't sound right, or doesn't sound like how I wanted it to. Not that it's right or wrong. I mean, it actually sounds okay, but I actually preferred it just getting cut back a little bit there. Slightly different rhythm to it. So that's the kick and the bass. On the bass, there is barely any processing again. In fact, there is none other than, what did I do here? I had a bit of a play around with, oh, never mind, that's the high cut. I was going to high cut it in the transition. Didn't end up doing it in the end. So there's absolutely no processing on this either. Just turn the volume up a little bit. Yeah, all of this is just standard. And then a compressor going to the kick, and that's it. Fast attack, fast release. And it's going to the kick, and the threshold's brought quite far down, so make sure that it ducks to that kick. Pretty simple bass line, but it works. Next up, we have this acid sound. Now, this is where a lot of, obviously, which makes up the majority of the whole sound you can hear pretty much. But there's quite a bit going on with it. So this is created with my acid rack. I'll leave a link in the description below. Ignore the fact that this is Ableton Suite 11 here. It does work in 10, 11, and 12, and anything above, providing you've got the version in the product description or above. So just ignore that. So what it's got here is, this is the acid sound. So what we've got going on here, we have a few different things. We have, where is the cutoff? Sorry, there should be, There it is. Sorry, I couldn't find it then. Right, so there's a few different bits of modulation happening with the filter. So the beauty of this rack is this dial here where it says acid style, you can flick between or blend as a saw-based acid or a square-based acid. What right now I've got it 79%. So all the way over to the left is the saw base, saw style acid with a saw wave. So I'll just play it like this. If you go all the way over, you can hear that that is then done with the square bass. So what we're going to do here is I just blended it a little bit. So I've got a bit of best of both worlds. So that's that. Then what I've done is I've automated the frequency cutoff here. So there's this automation happening. So the filter cutoff is opening in accordance with this, right? So I've just drawn in some automation. But there's other automation happening, or sorry, modulation happening on the filter. So the next one that we have is the velocity. So the velocity is also mapped to how much the filter is either opened or closed. So if I just play it again for you. If I bring this down, so you can hear there that I am bringing the filter and getting it to open and close in accordance with every single note is slightly different. You'll see here, oh, well, it is in per bar or per 2 bars. I can't remember exactly the changes, but you can see all that modulation happening. Then what I've got is I have this LFO here. Now, this is essentially mapped to the frequency cutoff as well. So as this comes up, and it's the drawing of the automation is going up, we also have this LFO moving slightly as well. You can see here it's very slow rate, small depth. If I bring it up to show you more about what it's doing, and then I kind of did this, you'll see this cutoff is moving as well with it. So sort of giving it a bit more of a humanized feel. It's just a slow one. The depth like this, and I've just got it to glider mode, and it's just constantly changing that filter, whether that's at a single note level or over time. So I'll just play it on its own, and I'll also show you one second, I'll show you obviously this automation as well. So there's 3 sets of modulation happening with that filter cutoff, which is what gives it that movement. Now, because I've obviously got this on like this as well, if this is random and you've got a random rate, you could play this for such a long period of time and not a single bar would be the exact same. So that's what I love about this LFO, and just having sort of like glider, or you can pick any of these, you know, you've got stray, for example. If you wanted to, you could add in some jitter there, just to give it some more sort of movement. It gets a bit erratic, but the purpose of what I've put it on there for is just that slow movement, as if you're manually doing the filter cutoff with your hand, but obviously done with this a lot easier. So that is that. Then I've obviously just got a compressor on there, just a side chain to that kick. Is there anything else processing wise on this? No. So the other thing to note on this is this acid. In the acid rack, the way the acid rack is set up, it's going through 3 different distortions. So you've got saturation, so this will flip between different saturation types. Then we've got the saturation amount of that one. Then it comes through the drive, which is another saturation. And then it's got another one here, distortion type 2. And it's going through this as well. So it's 3 different types of distortion that are happening there. Now, another thing you could do as well, if you wanted to, this is the beauty of this acid rack, is I could actually have it so that we map this to, say, for example, like the acid style, in which case I could have it so I'll make it really obvious for you. Let's do the depth. So we could now actually change this acid a bit more to go from the square wave style acid to the saw wave. That sounds quite nice, actually. So as the acid goes along, it's just changing from saw wave to square wave over time on however you got it like this. But for now, I'll just keep it the way it is. So that's the acid. They're the three main elements to this: the kick, the bass, and the acid. Now I've added some things just to pad it out. I've just got a simple 909 clap here. And this is going through a plate reverb with a little bit of EQ taking out the low end there. So that's that. And then what else have we got? A bit of extra pre-delay on it. So the clap originally sounds like this. Just makes it sound a little bit more 3D. And then we've got this just simple 909 open hat. Very sort of simple percussion. And then I have this here. So this is a hat loop that originally started like this. So where is it? So put this up here. So this is what it originally started like. Just take it back to the default setting. So warp mode beat. So it sounded like this originally. Let me actually turn this off as well. Sorry, let me play it here first so you can hear it how I wanted it to sound. It's got a nice sort of dark feel to it. Let me just turn the Echo Boy off. And also, I'll show you what Echo Boy does in a second. So this is originally how it started. Quite a high frequency-based hat loop there. So what I then did was I switched it to this mode. And then I've pitched it down 18 semitones. Now, if I tried to do that in the original setting, like i.e. this one, it would sound like this. If I go to 18, it sounds terrible. So this is if you do it this way, but because I've done it with this one, what I've done is I've changed it to this mode here, and then I've dialed this back as well. Now, what I find, the more I keep pitching this down, if I keep bringing this down with it, the percussion sounds really quite nice. So if I go really far down, you can hear how it goes back to that there. So, okay, just quickly, if you are looking for help with your productions, then be sure to head over to allanmorrowstudios.com and join the AM Studios trance production community, where you'll get free tips, tutorials sent directly to you, to your inbox. You'll get exclusive offers for tutorials on the website, as well as free samples, free MIDI, and free presets as well. So head over to allanmorrowstudios.com and go to the free section, and I will also leave a link in the description below. Let's get straight back to the video. He's kind of like tightening up those really low pitched percussion hits without them sounding terrible like this one. So this is the one that I actually like the sound of. So that's what I had there. Then what I did with that is I added just a sidechain using the LFO tool like this. Just played around with the rhythm that I wanted these first two notes down. So originally it sounds like this without that. Just wanted a bit more of a duck to that percussion hit. Then what I've added on is Echo Boy. And what I like about this Echo Boy is this DM2 saturation. So this is with it off. And that's with it on. You can hear that it's got this, like, it sits underneath and gives it the loop a bit of extra depth. So what the settings are is here, as you can see, it's 1/8 dotted either side on a ping pong setting. And got, what's that percentage? I'm not even sure. 35% mix there. But if we go to this saturation, if I turn this down, we get this nice sort of saturated delay underneath it. So this is the wet signal. And this is the dry. Mix them together and I get that sort of nice sound. Now there's lots of different saturation types in here. You can have a little play around with some of these. But I really like that DM2 setting, so I'll just leave that there. So that was that, just to give that a bit of depth underneath that loop. Then what I have is just very simple crash cymbals and reverse crash cymbals and white noise. So this is the crash cymbal. I like to keep these things simple in my productions because I just think they can sound a bit cheap and nasty if they're a bit too crazy, especially in something like this. Just nice, simple white noise sounds. If I play them all together. And then these ones reversed are just the same as the ones going down. So we get all of this. Now, the thing that I was talking about saving till the end was this that I put on a lot of my masters. I do it on a lot of my Strobing Records tracks, and it's just to give it that bit of an older sort of feel, and it's the Abbey Road vinyl plugin. So you can hear that when I stop talking because the mic dips the sound. But basically, it's just there to give it a little bit of noise and a little bit of crackle. And these are the settings that I have it on. I can't remember the default settings when you first get it, but this is the settings that I have for it. Just a bit of noise, bit of crackle. I have the turntable set to DJ, the cartridge set to DJ, and these are just, I think these are just standard what it's on. So I'll play it with it off. So it just gives it a nice little bit of a older sort of feel to it. Say some people don't like that. I quite like the little artifacts. It does definitely change the EQ overall tone of it as well, which I do like. So yeah, that's something that I use. There is a free alternative to this. I think it's Isotope vinyl. I think if you want to check that out, it's got very similar sort of parameters on it and stuff. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. As I say, if you've not yet done so, be sure to head over to allanmorrowstudios.com to check out all the stuff there to help you with your productions. Thanks again for watching the video. And also, if you haven't yet done so, you can join the AM Studios Trance Production community. I'll leave a link in the description below. So yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell, and let me know also below if there's anything that you would like to see on the channel as well. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.